Hi, I'm Cindy Meyersohn. I'm here from DataRebels, and I'm with our CEO of DataVaultAlliance, Dan Linstedt. Dan, would you
Uh,
like to say hello?
sure. Hi, everybody.
Great. I just wanted to ask a couple questions. We've gotten a number of questions come in from various sources, and one of the questions that seems to be quite um, frequently asked, I'll put it that way, is how do people address the cost effectiveness of their data warehouse or data analytics solutions?
Yeah, that's a great question. And in case you missed it from what Cindy was just saying there, we can do way more than just Data Vault. Whether your data warehouse is a data warehouse that's legacy, or whether it's a data lakehouse, or whether it's a Kimball star schema formatted data warehouse, or whether it's a smattering or composite of all of these wonderful things, including Data Vault, cost effectiveness really needs to be managed at an enterprise level or at a business level to make it worthwhile. One of the biggest problems with cost effectiveness that you'll hear about, at least in our new class, and this goes across the board for all analytic solutions, is asking the data warehousing team or the analytics team that's building to fix data quality problems in the data warehouse or in the analytics space. There's one report, there are a number of them, but there's one report that puts that cost at 10 times higher to do it in the analytics space rather than doing it at the operational source where the data is captured. And that's quite expensive. Now, there's another figure that's interesting for cost analysis or cost runaway cost, and that is the lag time for delivery. So teams getting stuck in analysis paralysis, or teams getting stuck in this idea that they have to build everything up front. Like, for instance, put everything in the data lake, then they have to define all of the enterprise metadata, then they have to, and you can see how this goes on and on and on and never ends, and before they ever deliver anything. And that's just the wrong way to think. You've got to do thin slice, borrowing from my good friend Scott Ambler, who will also be with us shortly, thin slices to execute disciplined agile delivery effectively. And you narrow down the scope and the requirements, you deliver fast, and you fail hard fast. You go back, you repeat, you iterate. So this is what we need to do to start managing cost of delivery as well as managing risk. And when something does go haywire, you can very quickly put a stop to it or change direction, which is also part of the Agile Manifesto.
Right. Well, I'm kind of glad you brought up Agile anyway, because Data Vault is the methodology. Period is focused very much on the work that Scott has done over the years. Scott and Mark Lyons have done over the years, and so when it comes to looking at this whole idea of uncontrolled costs that may occur due to this lack of collaboration, because we always talk about collaboration is king. So can you speak to that a bit about what we're doing maybe in the 2.1 class, and specifically what we're doing with Scott right now to really address this whole issue of collaboration and understanding agile from the proper perspective?
Yeah, this brings up an analogy, a story from my past. I have an older sister. She's older by about almost a year. And at one point, we were both told to clean up our rooms. And more than that, let's just put it this way, we were both told to go downstairs and clean up the toy room together. At that age, do you think we collaborated? Oh, no. The more we fought, the less got done. The more we stayed there and had to stay there and sit there and fume about getting the toy room cleaned up. We pointed fingers at each other, but she didn't and he didn't. And this went on and on and on. And yeah, I can see some bells ringing and some smoke pouring out of people's ears right now. But the whole idea is that, if only I had known then what I know now, that it would have been a lot faster and a lot easier if I just sat down with her and said, okay, what is it you want to do? And what is it I want to do? And of course, neither one of us want to do this. So how do we get it done together? And if we had collaborated and communicated and then basically established a short range plan and then executed it, probably would have been cleaned in less than 10 minutes. Instead, it took 45 minutes and we still weren't done. And my dad came downstairs and, why isn't the toy room clean? Well, because she said, and she didn't, and he said, and he didn't. Pointing fingers gets nobody anywhere or gets everyone nowhere fast, right? And this is part of the problem in the approaches that we see today. And sometimes it's not so much pointing fingers as it is misunderstanding or no communication or miscommunication across the teams. There's no clear boundaries. And, when it comes back to discipline, agile, and delivery, clear communication and transparency is really what makes this work. But I said it earlier just a minute ago, you got to have an agile plan, a simple MVP agile plan on how the communication is going to go while you're building. So there has to be a clear line. You have to be able to pick up the phone and call the business analyst and reach them or ask them to visit you for 5 or 10 minutes. Don't ask them to spend 2 hours with you. But you've got to be able to work together collaboratively while the build is happening so that when you run into a snag or a process problem, you can get an answer like that. And then you can move forward because nobody likes analysis paralysis. And that's where all the finger pointing starts. Well, they said they would deliver. They're not delivering. I'm angry with them. They said they gave me this requirement. Here's the use case to prove it. And now I delivered that, but that's not what they want. This just escalates the wrong way. This just takes more time out of the execution cycles. And then the teams, both sides, get frustrated, they separate, and then they don't want to work together. It's bad news.
So with the new CDVP 2.1 class that we are launching, which we're super excited about, how are we going to be addressing this with students in the classroom?
That's a good question. We do try to teach our practitioners, and always have, a bit about the business side of things and how the business sees what they do. But we also try to involve the business analysts, we call them technical business analysts. And those are the folks on the business side who have some acumen, some technical acumen. They usually stay throughout the entire course, generally. The business analysts who don't want to know or don't need to know how to build, and that's okay, we have those. We like to involve them on the first day or so and get them involved in some early on videos which explain why we do what we do and how to best collaborate. But to answer your question directly, we've got materials in the new class right around discipline agile delivery that dive deep and actually tie it together with what we do in the methodology, roles and responsibilities, how to deliver rapidly, day-long sprints, for example, how to address, and then on the flip side, how to address use cases in a better, more repeatable fashion, how to design your user stories in such a way that ontologies and taxonomies can drive iteration quickly. So taking day-long sprints down to 2-hour sprints, if possible, once the team gets used to the cadence and so on. But these are all some of the things that are in the new 2.1 materials that I'm really excited about.
I appreciate your time today, and we're looking forward to bringing this class together.
Me too. See you guys.